Welcome to Thoughts on Change, where we explore the mindsets and moves that make change feel less like a battle and more like a breakthrough. I'm your host, Kelly Mallery. Hello again. So last week, I asked you all if you've ever met resistance when trying to implement improvements or other change. Now, I imagine you all said yes, because if you said no, then you need to call me right now and share your story with us all. We all face resistance to improvement and change efforts. All of us. And we even feel that same resistance at times in ourselves when we are subject to something new. Like, take AI, for example. This is a powerful new technology, and there's a lot of uncertainty and fear surrounding its use, regulation, and how it might make some jobs obsolete. I know I was resistant to letting AI into my life until very recently because of these feelings. Resistance is a very normal human thing to experience. If resistance is so human, why do we fight it so much? I think it's because when we face resistance from others, we feel a threat to our success and our beliefs. And when we feel threatened, we activate the survival instincts of fight, flight, and freeze. These are the instincts that kept us safe while we were roaming the earth at the same time as saber-toothed tigers and Andrewsarchus, which is the largest known carnivorous land mammal. And my favorite, the hell pig. In our modern world, where we live in a state of constant change and our jobs are to make things run better so we can make more money, these instincts can be a large barrier to progress. If we as people trying to lead the change are engaging our survival instincts when we meet resistance, what are the people resisting experiencing? When I was a business leader for a global manufacturing company, we were late on delivering product to customers. I went to the Gemba to see and understand what was happening. It wasn't easy to tell how we were performing at any given time. Anecdotally, I learned that one part of the process was our bottleneck. So I worked to implement hour by hour charts here so we could start to capture the problems happening on the line and work to fix them. It went great. No, it didn't. Of course it didn't. This video is about resistance. There was so much pushback to the hour by hour charts. Things like, why are you trying to micromanage us? This won't solve anything. We're just going to get yelled at for not producing enough. I even got pushback from my supervisor, who dragged their feet at getting the hourlies up and who openly disagreed with me on the direction. Through enough pressure and effort from me, the hour by hours did get put up. Then I had to fight the resistance of filling them out. It was the same complaints. Why are you trying to micromanage us? This won't solve anything. And a new one. This takes too much time. That one was actually fair. Again, through pushing and a lot of work on my end, the hourlies got filled out and we started to see and fix the problems. Then, of course, I had to hound people to look at the hour by hours regularly and take appropriate action. In the end, it got done and we fixed problems. But at what cost? At what cost to the team dynamic? At what cost to my stress levels and overall happiness? Now, some of you might be thinking, well, did you explain up front the purpose of the hour by hours and the goal? And did you make the expectations clear? Yes, I did. And it still did not make anything easier. If I had to guess, it hasn't made it much easier for you either. You're still hustling and pushing and going home exhausted and dreading going back in tomorrow to don your boxing gloves and fight again. There is a better way, but we have to understand at a deeper level what is going on when people resist. It was the only way after this experience and many others like it that I began to see and connect the true reasons they were all pushing back so hard. They were afraid of losing their sense of autonomy. Why are you micromanaging us? Afraid of retribution and losing their jobs or their sense of security. We're just going to get yelled at for not producing enough. And afraid of losing their sense of authority, which was my supervisor dragging his feet. What I learned, and I still see this, is behind all resistance, is fear. When people are afraid and resisting change, they're really trying to protect themselves, protect their sense of autonomy, their sense of authority, their sense of security. And when we are trying to shift their behaviors and habits, they see a threat to these things, these needs they have as humans. Think Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They see a wall of attack from us, and we see a wall of resistance from them. When someone is in a mindset of protecting themselves, they cannot see the logic or value in what we are trying to do. Their brain has shifted from the prefrontal cortex, where logic and reasoning and executive function exist, to the amygdala, where survival mechanisms live. So when Frank Herbert wrote "Fear is the mind killer" in his epic novel Dune, he really meant it. And this is why talking through change in a logical way does not work. Chip and Dan Heath talk about this really nicely in their book Switch. They talk about the elephant, our emotional being, and the rider, our logical being. And when the elephant is in a protective frenzy, it's extremely hard for the rider to take control. Using logic and reasoning are not the right tools in this situation. Explaining the change and why it is important is good for alignment and direction, but it does not in itself prevent or help people through their feelings of fear and therefore their resistance. But here's what does help: naming the fear, right? Often our fears take on a larger than life image in our minds. That creak in the night becomes a grotesque monster. The start of AI becomes the movie I, Robot. The hour by hour becomes my boss screaming at me and me getting fired. When we let our fears run rampant in our heads, they grow and morph, and we are more and more at their mercy. When we name them and get them out of our heads, we can examine them for what they truly are. We can also start to get to the real problem here. We can get to the need that we are afraid of losing, and we can address that directly. Having conversations around people's fears is a very delicate thing. You have to have built a strong, trusting relationship first. And even then, you have to come into the conversation with compassion and curiosity. Now, here are a couple of techniques that I use that have been successful for me. They may not work for you, but this is what has worked for me. So try at your own risk. So first I ask, so what about the change is concerning or troubling to you? To me, this is very similar to Michael Bungay-Stanier's question, what's the real challenge here? And now here's the most important part. I really listen to every word. I'm not thinking about my response to what they say or how I'm going to convince them. I am fully present and taking in everything they say and the way they say it. There is a lot you can infer from truly listening. So once I do that, then I validate their feeling and make a small inference about the fear back to them and check if that's right. So this sounds something like, I hear you're concerned about being reprimanded for not making enough parts to meet demand. That feeling makes sense. I wouldn't want to be reprimanded in that situation either. I imagine that would make you not want to work in that environment, which could create concern about your job security. Is that right? Now, if your inference is wrong, ask what it is making them feel. So something like, "Oh, I apologize for getting that wrong. What are you really feeling there?" This cycle of listening, validating, inferring, and checking for correctness comes from Mark Rosenberg's work on nonviolent communication. I really encourage you to check it out. It's really wonderful. Once I do get a confirmation of the fear, now I can work to address it specifically. When we're able to truly address people's fears about change, we can break through their resistance and help the human beneath. Give it a try. When you face resistance, remind yourself that it is really fear driving this person and try to understand what the fear is so you can address that. Ask what about the change is concerning or troubling to you. Listen, validate, infer, and confirm. And then work to help them address the fear. Let me know how it goes and what you learn. Remember, changing our default thinking and behavior is really difficult, but it has a massive impact on our ability to lead effective change. And this is the way we impact business results and cultures. You don't have to do this alone. Join other continuous improvement practitioners and change agents in my program, The Change Odyssey. This is the focused program to help you make the shift from battling resistance to breaking through. Here's what some people are saying about working with me on their journeys. The lesson learned, combined with detailed steps of changes I can make in my daily life, really set me up for future success. I have learned a lot and have seen many positive benefits in my life as a result. This stuff really works. I'm grateful to do this journey together with Kelly. This is very value added to me. And last, it has been fantastic. There are still a few spots open for this next Odyssey that starts in October. If you would like to learn more and apply, please visit kellymallery.com/changeodyssey. And if you're enjoying these videos, please subscribe. If you want to learn more about how I can help you shift your change leadership, visit my website at kellymallery.com or email me at kelly@kellymallery.com. Here's to less battle and more breakthrough, one mindset shift at a time. Thanks for watching.